Hi there, and welcome to Adunata. Let me show you around and explain how to make the most out of this VTT. As GM, here you will find all your campaigns. Let's actually create a new one. So, here is our table. To navigate, you can use either your mouse or your keyboard. For the keyboard, use WASD to pan. If you hold Shift plus WASD, you can orbit, and you can use Q and E to zoom in and out. This keeps everything right under your left hand. You can also use the mouse, and that's going to be the middle mouse button to pan, scroll wheel to zoom, and right mouse button to orbit. Quick side note, Adunata is currently in early access, so any feedback is welcome. If you feel something is off or can be improved, please feel free to reach out. Now, these vertical icons on the side are your main tools. These first four are what I call surface tool, since they directly interact with the playing ground. Their subtools will pop up right here in the top middle part of the screen. Alright, time to import a map. You have a few ways to do this. You can drag and drop a file. Let me undo that. You can copy a map using a snipping tool and paste it with Ctrl V. Just try to capture an image as large as possible to get a good resolution. Let me undo that too. And finally, within the map tool, you can also browse your file using the Add Map subtool. In Adunata, you aren't limited to just one map on the table. You can place a global map over here. Let's drop a knife on top of it. Our adventure is located here. Don't worry, we'll dive into the gallery later. Then, in the exact same scene, you can also set up other maps. For instance, you can have the interior of a cave, the exterior with a river, maybe a crucial handout, anything you feel is important to keep on top of the table. While the map tool is active, you can edit maps. Watch as I arrange these on the table procedurally adapt its size to fit them perfectly. Every time you import a map, a light is automatically added and linked to it. At any point, even outside of map mode, you can edit the map's tint or its lighting via the context menu. This is perfect for quickly creating night variations or setting a specific mood. Let's see what other subtools we have. So far we used Move and Add Map. The Delete subtool requires you to click on the specific map you want to remove. Undo, undo, undo. The Rotation tool lets you rotate the map around your initial clicking position. And the Scaling tool works the exact same way when resizing. Understanding this scale from clicking position concept is important, and here's why. Adunata has a unified word scale unit system. Let's enable the grid on this map using the grid subtool. As you can see, if I scale the map, Adunata's grid stays locked to the word. If your imported map doesn't have a grid drawn on it, that's fine, you can just eyeball the scale. But if it does come with a grid like this one, we need to match it to Adunata's grid. There's a tool to automate this, but let me show you the manual way first. With Adunata's grid enabled, we use the Move tool to align a grid intersection near the middle of the map. Next, since the scaling origin starts whenever we click, remember, I'll click exactly where those two grids intersect and slowly scale until the rest of the lines match up. Little tip, look at an intersection further away from the center to get it perfectly accurate. Alright, now let's see how the Grid Align tool speeds this process up. Let's mess up the position and scale again. Alright, now, with the Grid Align tool selected, all you need to do is draw a line covering the number of squares indicated here, and you can change this number. The more unit you cover, the more accurate it gets. But 5 is usually a good start. Let's say 6. I had Adunata's grid for a second just to make it easier to draw this line. Now I'll drag a line exactly 6 squares long on the map's grid. There, let's re-enable the grid and see how we did. Pretty good. It should be a near perfect match, but if you need a little nudge, you can tweak it manually like I showed you before. At this point, we have a few maps on the table. While Adunata relies on 2D maps for environmental heavy lifting, opening the gallery here reveals the Terrain tab. These 3D elements aren't necessarily meant to build a whole map from scratch. They are designed as strategic battle elements to help visualize cover, elevation, and obstacles. You can of course also use them to add missing features. For instance, on this generic map, I can create a 3D mine entrance that isn't drawn on the map at all. Let's do it. Clicking a thumbnail initiates the spawning phase. You can preview the model position and rotate it using Z and X. Left click to confirm the placement, and to exit the spawning phase, right click or hit escape. In Adunata we have two modes of interactions, miniature and terrain mode. As soon as you spawn a terrain, the interaction mode automatically switches to terrain mode, so you can immediately tweak what you have just spawned. To move these elements, left click and drag. To rotate, right click and drag. You can also marquee select multiple elements, then translate or rotate them all together. Alright, let's place a few other things. Terrains are a bit different from miniatures. For one, you can scale them non-proportionally, meaning you can stretch them on separate axes. Oh, by the way, this button locks the scale proportions, so if you adjust one axis, the others scale automatically to match. Also, if you stack things on top of terrain elements, they get parented to the lower piece. This means everything sitting on this terrain element, miniatures or other terrain, will move together with it. This is incredibly useful for things like boats and wagons. If you have a combination of terrain you'd like to store, select Group, right click and hit Save as Preset. Your setup will be stored right here in the Terrain Preset tab. This is a good time to check out the drawing tool. It's great for basic scribbling, mapping out a battle plan or highlighting things on the map. For example, I can draw odd-looking tracks leading to the entrance to hint at a trap. As the GM, we can enable the secret toggle to draw things only we can see, like secret passages, or in this case, the actual trap area. Alright, our environment is set up. Now let's look at the extra objects. These are real-life objects that add charm on the table and provide actual functionality in-game. For instance, let's add a sound clock in case our players take too long to decide. We can also add some candles to better light our scene, and with this one you can also tweak the candle intensity, the height by adjusting the melting amount. You can turn it off and on, and even link it to a timer to burn down automatically. Let's also toss down a dice tray in case we want to invite our players to throw their dice here. Pins and note pins are very useful. Here's a practical example. So instead of looking down at a PDF or my notes for the description of room 1A, I can drop a pin here as a 3D bookmark. As soon as I place it, a dialog window opens and I can import like a relevant image if I have it, or paste the room description right here, so I don't have to look back and forth or switch windows constantly. Adunata basically lets you write your adventure spatial if you want. When my players arrive, I can read the text and even broadcast the window, making it pop on everyone's screens. The 3D pin also becomes visible to them, so they can click back into it whenever they need. Note pins are similar, but they link directly to a note in your journal, which is a perfect segue. In the journal, notes live at campaign level, so they persist even if we change scenes. New notes are completely private by default, even from the GM, but if a note is published, it's shared with everyone. It loses its single owner, allowing anyone to edit it, but one person at a time. And once public, a note can be deleted only by the GM. If a player wants to declutter their journal, for now they can hide notes from here. and reveal them later. I'm thinking of adding folder functionalities eventually, but yeah, let me know what you think about it. Just as normal pins, node pins are great for location-based triggers. Maybe a mission brief drops here when they get close to the cave entrance, or maybe an important NPC shows up and you want to have the description ready. You can simply place it here and you don't have to dig through your journal to find the quest. And once broadcast, the mission node lands straight in the player's journals. The last extra object we have is the Bard coin. This is another 3D bookmark, but for your soundtrack. Let's look at the audio menu, which the GM can open from here. Let's create the right soundtrack for when our party arrives at the cave. You can mix music and ambient sound by browsing the tracks available here. You can even import your own if you want. Each track has 3 icons. The ear icon lets you preview the track privately using this preview player at the bottom. When the track plays here, only the GM hears it. Once you find the one you like and adjust the volume, you can push it to the broadcasting section, which is what your players actually hear. Let's say I like this music. If I only have one track, it will keep looping, but I can stack multiple music tracks to play one after the other. Similarly, we can add ambient sounds in the bottom section, but instead of playing sequentially, ambient sounds play at the same time, allowing us to layer them. Let's add, for instance, a river sound and some wind. Okay, let's say I love this setup, but it's meant for the exterior, right? Not for the inside of the cave. So I will store this mix inside a Bard coin and drop the coin right here. Now when the player arrives at this spot, doesn't matter which music I'm playing before, I can simply right click on the Bard coin and hit apply, which passes the coin setup to the live audio player. You can also spawn coins straight from the gallery and set them up via their context menu. Alright, let's start placing some foes for our heroes. In the Miniature tab, you will find a good variety of models. You can quickly search for them using tags or the search field. Spawning them works exactly like terrains. Click a thumbnail, pick a spot, rotate the preview with Z and X, place with left click and exit with a right click or ESC. Dragging minis is simple, just left click and drag. To rotate the mini, right click on it and drag. The mini will actually look at your mouse cursor as you move it. This is great for group selections, like if you want a whole squad to face a target, just select them all, right click on one of them and drag. If you want to rotate the whole group maintaining their formation, just hold Ctrl while you right click and drag on one of them. Okay, let's look at the context menu of miniatures. Let me also enable the overlay toggle. When you start a new campaign, all miniatures have basic stats. However, you can change them on the fly, of course. You can also add custom stats for your specific game system. For instance, let's say my one uses proficiency modifiers, which I want to keep track of, strength, dexterity, and so on. And we can create also custom rolls. Actually, let me open a quick parenthesis about dice and dice rolls. You can open the dice UI from here and quickly drag one in the scene. You can quickly reroll one you find on the table, just with left mouse button. To select multiple dice, right click and drag. Marquee selection won't work for dice, so you won't accidentally select terrains or minis. You can quickly delete them with the delete key. And of course you can also do that from the dice context menu. In the dice UI, if you click a die instead of dragging it, you open the dice roll editor. Let's say we want to make a vine staff attack for our druid here. It's gonna be 1d20 plus 5 to hit. And I can add extra dice slot to roll, for instance, to roll the damage too, to speed up the combat. So that's gonna be 1d8 plus 3 bludgeoning damage, and 1d4 poison. Let's make the poison die green. Customizing each dice slot's color is very useful. Imagine things like fear and hope dice and so on. You can even write comparison formulas in this field for roll under systems. Just use like minor or major and the target you want to reference. The die number will flash green or red to show success or failure, and so will the log's result. Let's also make the Verdant Wisp ranged attack plus 5 to hit and 3d6 radiant damage. I'll make those yellow. Now I can roll all of them instantly, dragging from this button. And here is where it all comes together. Remember those custom stats we added to the miniature? When you build a custom role for that miniature, you can reference the stats name instead of typing a static number. So if a player's hero levels up and improves their base stats, all their custom dice rolls will automatically pull the new higher bonuses. Just note that when you hit save on a custom dice roll, you will assign it to your selected miniature. If nothing is selected, it simply saves as generic roll. Also, custom rolls in this UI will show up according to the miniature you have selected. Now, this very customized miniature with its own stats and custom attacks at the moment is something that exists just in this scene. If I as master want that all the druids in my current campaign have this custom setup, I can hit override default stats, which changes the baseline for that specific model in the gallery. So the next time I spawn this druid, it arrives with these exact stats. If you want, you can right-click on the thumbnail preview in the gallery and edit the default stats of each miniature. So you can set up all the miniatures to work perfectly for whatever game system you are using. Once you have done that, you can export the whole gallery setup from the campaign menu. This saves a file that you can share with the community, or you can load it in your next campaign if you want to use that exact game system. If you are a player, you can set up your hero in the character menu. Adunata isn't trying to replace your entire pen and paper character sheet, but you can automate the most common things you do in combat. A character, at the end of the day, in Adunata is essentially this exact combination we just built. A 3D skin, their stats, and their custom dice rolls. So these heroes in your workshop update live as you play with them in any campaign. If you change a stat or add a roll during a campaign, it permanently saves your character globally. Their identity is unique across the software, meaning if you spawn two of the exact same hero, their data syncs the moment one of them makes a change. As a GM, you can also have miniature presets. With Save as a preset, you can take a mini or a group of minis and basically save them as a snapshot and store them here in the miniature presets tab. You could save, for instance, like a spider mummy with her little spiders, or a patrol unit, or most importantly, your player's entire party, letting you drop them all onto a new map instantly. There is also the option to save whatever you have selected to your My Character gallery. This is true for both master and players, by the way. Basically, you clone whatever is on the table straight into your personal My Characters gallery, as if you did it in your workshop, basically. This is brilliant for GMs who want to prepare, for instance, a character for novice players. They can simply right-click on it and add it to their My Characters gallery. About the skins or miniature models, as I said, there are already a lot of them and they plan to add more, but if you want to create a unique miniature for special characters, for instance, let's say I want to have one for our Alchemist Goblin Xerxes, I can use this special miniature, the Paper Mini, and assign a texture to it. If you don't know how to create and cut out images like this, I can show it to you in another video, but believe me, nowadays it really takes 2 minutes. In this case, this is a goblin, so it should be shorter. And this is exactly what this slider is for. It changes the size of the paper part on the base without altering the footprint of the mini itself. Let's save this straight into my characters. And now I have a unique custom mini for my adventure. Of course, you can use this for heroes too. Now, before we jump into actual combat, just a few final touches on this menu. You can store a web link to quickly pull up a wiki page or whatever URL you want. Load a hero track, which are basically little theme songs that you can load and that plays automatically on their turn. And manage visibility toggles to hide the mini, make it ignore the fog of war, or make this context menu visible for your players, because maybe you don't want to show the mini stats to your players. And we'll save conditions and add turn for the main event, combat. Alright, we have maps, terrain, heroes and foes. Let's play. As a GM, you can host online or via LAN. If you hit online, you will find your code to join here. Just copy it and paste it to your friends. As a player, you will join from here. When the GM loads a new scene or starts hosting, the player that will join will be at the gate, meaning they can't immediately see the scene. This gives you, master, the time to double check everything is ready for them. In this case, I realize I didn't set up the fog of war. Now, using 2D maps as backdrop isn't great just because they're everywhere, they're easy to find and to make, and come with, adventure models. No, they're also fantastic for painting fog of war. I'm gonna open the gate to this hypothetical player so you can see how things work for both sides. I'm also gonna press Shift plus F as master to make all the players' cameras match mine. With the fog of war tool here, you can hide and reveal areas on the map just like a 2D virtual tabletop. But all the terrain 3D elements and miniatures get hidden and revealed automatically as you paint, unless the mini has the Ignore Fog of War toggle on. Terrains and miniatures use the fog of war information from the painted map to set their visibility. That's why this part of the terrain is always visible, is outside of the map. The tools are the standard ones. Fill the map with fog of war or clear it. Paint fog of war. You can set the brush size from here. Shift plus scroll wheel does the same, by the way, very fast. And this brush size will also be used by the eraser brush here. If you're dealing with this kind of maps, set in nature with organic shapes, the normal brush is great. If you are instead in this kind of maps with straight walls and corridors, these options here allow you to paint grids units instead. Very useful. And you can speed things up a lot using shortcuts. The paint and eraser tool both toggle to each other if you use Alt, for instance. So I can just set one of the two, the one I prefer, and I use Alt to toggle the other tool on the fly as I need it. And if you hold Control, you toggle brush and grid mode. So hiding and revealing straight or organic shapes becomes a breeze once you get comfortable with these shortcuts and combine them. I've always found it easier and very straightforward to just paint over maps in 2D. And Adunata lets you do that, but with 3D objects on the map that react accordingly. Adunata also helps a lot during combat. Once everything is on the table, like heroes and foes, starting a fight is as simple as selecting all the minis and hitting on one of them at the turn. The turn system opens up, and then you just hit roll initiative and all minis will roll using whatever logic you have set up here. The default is 1d20 plus the initiative, which every miniature has, and by default it's 0. But you can actually change it to, 1d6, remove the initiative modifier, or reverse the order from here. The tracker also gives you quick access to each mini HP and AC, so you can quickly see if you hit or not. And you can also enable autofocus to center your camera on the active character. And it tracks also, most importantly, the passing of rounds. And round tracking isn't just crucial for timed events, like at round 4 something catastrophic happens. No, it also actually handles miniature conditions. Conditions are a bunch of visual cues ready to be toggled. They apply visual effects directly on the Mini and display the relative icon in the turn system and overlay. This means that if you want to remove them, you don't have to right-click and open the condition menu. You can just click on the icon here. When you apply condition, you can set its duration in seconds, minutes, or rounds. So now, as the turn tracker advances, the condition will automatically disappear in the right round. Alright, it's our hero's turn, let's say. If you hold control while moving a Mini, you can see the distance travel as you move it. Putting it down and picking it up again while still holding control breaks the line and shows the total distance travel. By default, this shows the point-to-point distance in feet. You can configure this using the measure tool. For example, in Italy, 1 square is 1.5 meters. And if you prefer a strict grid-based distance system, you can enable it here. You also have sphere and cone measurements. Measurement default colors can be customized here or tweak later from the context menu. Alright, this is the current state of the app. Remember that this is a solo passion project and I am sure bugs will pop up here and there. So thanks in advance to anyone who reports them, and please feel free to reach out, join the Discord and share your ideas or any issue you might find. Adunata has already improved so much thanks to its small but super cool community. It is amazing how many ideas they contributed to and how with their ingenuity they turn things I didn't foreseen into features or funny memes that I'm totally gonna leave in the game. Right, Felice of the Italian channel WikiRoll? Thanks a lot also to my party, especially Nico, Turk and his party, and Mark and his party. If Adunata keeps having users like you, I know it can only get better.